Believe that you will always have money. Recently, I searched for the definition of faith and how did wise men of the past define it. It turns out that faith is confidence without any premises. The definition is brilliant. If you can believe in anything, what can stop you from believing in what you want? Nothing. If I want to be a millionaire, what can possibly stop me from believing I can be one? Nothing. You need no premises to believe, because if you have some, it is not faith, it is assurance or something like that. Our people tend to accumulate money and save it for negative purposes. It is a very dangerous thing to do. Imagine a man who saves money, accumulates it, which is surely a good habit to have, but he saves it for an accident. No, the story about the rainy day will be later. This one is for an accident. At first he had 50,000 rubles for an accident. Then he added another 50,000 and it became 100,000 rubles for an accident. What do you think this money will lead him to? You are right. If you save money to heal 2 broken bones, you are bound to break them. As if God added it to their to-do list. As we know, money is concentrated energy as well as our thoughts, and together they lead to lamentable results. Thus, if we manage to save some money, let's give it positive purposes. For example, instead of for an accident, the purpose could be to be happy all the time. The story about the rainy day is unpleasant, but if there are newbies here, it may be good for them to hear it. There was a woman in Crimea living with 2 kids. She worked at a poultry farm as an accountant. Her husband worked at some gold mine in Siberia. When they divorced for some reason, she was to get alimony at the end of each season. Alimony for 2 kids is about 33% of income, which is a big sum if paid seasonally. If man is working in harsh conditions, the sum can be enormous. One day she got 7,000 rubles at the post office. It happened in the 80s, you could buy much with that money. Volga car cost about 4,600 rubles, so she had enough to buy the car and the garage. Mother brings the money home and children ask her to buy them new sneakers. She answers, "No kids, we will save it for the rainy day." How do you think, did the rainy day come? Of course it did. After that they couldn't even buy shoelaces. If you think that you need money for the rainy day is inevitable. Positive thinking and believing in success are quite effective tools for increasing the financial flow. I already told you that I had to face the majority of nature's laws myself. Twice, if I couldn't figure out what to do in those situations. I want to tell you a story that happened some time ago in July. My business went just fine. I gave lectures, held seminars, which led to earning a 2 centimeters thick bundle of money. August begins, and as you know, it's time when kids prepare to school. And I had to buy them some things. There are 2 ways to do it. The first one is to go buy them in the end of the month, while other parents do the same and spend much time in lines. The second way is to do it in the beginning of the month when there's nobody there. Seems obvious, take the money and buy what your children need now, but I was a wise man and thought, what if I wouldn't have money that month? I had no faith, but doubts I would have money. Doubt is a thing not to be neglected. What if I can't earn money in August? I won't spend the bundle yet. Instead, I should save it, earn the sum I need again, and then spend it on school uniform, etc. I practice what I preach. Thus, I went working and left the bundle untouched. One day I was told, "Valentine, we are unable to pay you today even though the training is over." Our accountant went to the bank and it was closed. "Can we pay you later, otherwise you will have to stay here another day?" I agreed to get paid later. Couple days after that, I gave a lecture in other company. In the end, they told me that their worker went to currency exchange office and it was closed. Couple other offices did not work as well, and it meant they wanted but couldn't pay me. I told them it was okay to pay later. On my way home, I figured out why that happened. Week ago, I feared that I wouldn't have money. Relax now, you already have none. You work well, give lectures, hold seminars, people want to pay you, but they can't due to objective reasons. What am I doing wrong? I talk to myself. You got money for school uniform, but fear having no money. You can spare money for yourself, but don't spare it for your children. If this is the problem, what should I do? I took money in my left hand, the courage of the whole street in the right, and went to the market to buy everything my children needed. I spent everything, and 20 minutes after coming home, I got a call. They called to say they were ready to pay me. Thank God I got away with such a risky decision. My financial flow resumed. Believing that we will have money all the time lets us act as if we will. And the most surprising is that we will. If fear of having no money stops us from doing something, our financial flow stops because we don't do what we have to. This rule works in everyday life as well. One of our leaders told us about his uncle. The old man has a habit or a rule called "go broke as a king." He is a rich man, and it is strange he has such a rule. We asked the leader if his uncle uses the rule often. The answer was regularly. The rule is, when he has the last $100, he doesn't limit expenses to last longer till the next paycheck. He does quite the opposite and visits the restaurant spending everything to go broke as a king. The next day he gets money again. What does he demonstrate when he goes broke as a king? I believe that I will have money tomorrow. God looks at it and thinks, that man believes so much, I have to help him. Otherwise, if we spread money thin and try to last 100 years, it doesn't work. God thinks that man planned to last 7 weeks with $100. Why should I hurry to give him money if it's only the 5th week? All his expenses are limited, so he's able to survive 2 more weeks. This rule applies to everybody, not only to businessmen or entrepreneurs. My friend from Kharkiv in the 80s lived with her daughter while her husband worked in Nikolaev sending her money. She told me that one day she had 20 hryvnias left. Back then, you could spread it up to 4 days without any luxury, if you only buy milk, porridge, etc. The story took place when my friend was at her early 20s. She thought God wouldn't let me and my daughter starve to death, would he? I took 20 hryvnias and went to the supermarket with my daughter. It was the time when Western companies began bringing their products to our country. I bought a lot of delicious things which were unattainable luxury for a Soviet person. I spent all the money we had left. It was a dinner to remember. Next morning I had to take my daughter to kindergarten despite having no money. My husband was going to send me money on Monday. On the way to kindergarten, I met my sister. She borrowed me 2 hryvnias to pay the subway fee. I worked all day, and in the evening I came home with my daughter. Suddenly my neighbor came and told me she wanted to return the money she had borrowed and gave me 20 hryvnias. I was shocked and organized another delicious dinner for me and my daughter. Next morning it was Saturday and kindergarten was not an option to bring my child there, and still I had no money left. Then, out of nowhere, my friend visited us. At first she wanted to bring a cake, but then decided to buy some grilled chicken and vegetables. In the evening, my husband sent me money earlier than he was supposed to. How did he know about the experiment we held, called "Would God Let Us Starve?" Fortunately, God didn't let it happen. But there was nothing surprising about it. How do you think? Does God have money? Of course he does. If there was one creature to choose from, God is the one to have it. Second question, does God love you? Of course he does. What's the problem then? God has money and loves us. We cannot blame nobody but ourselves, because it's us who are too shy to ask for it. Imagine that you have 2 kids and you love them equally. The first one is ordinary and loves ice cream that costs 15 rubles. The other kid is strange and loves ice cream that costs 100 rubles. You know, the child loves the ice cream with chocolate, raisins, ketchup and mayo, all at once. Let's say this kid is extraordinary. This extraordinary child comes to you and asks for money for an ice cream. You love your child and have money. How much money would you give? 100 rubles to make your child happy, right? What if the ordinary child saw it and also comes to you to ask for money for an ice cream? You love your children and you have money, so you would give the money to the ordinary child too, right? Okay, but how much? 15 rubles, because that's how much the ice cream costs, and 55 rubles for firecrackers were not asked for. God can give us as much money as we want if we ask for it. So, dear friends, learn to not spare money for yourself and to believe you will have it all the time. After years of practice, I've become quite bold at it. We faced a lot of crisis situations. You probably remember mortgage crisis. It came in 2008, when I bought an old building to construct a new luxurious office there. Banks couldn't give me my money, as well as it was impossible to get a loan. The construction was already on. It was a miracle when I managed to keep it going, and there was not a day we stopped it because of the lack of money. We managed to finish construction without loans, even though banks kept my other real estate as a pledge. Since then, as crisis starts, I begin to build something. The war began, I built a country house. Sanctions came, I built a bathhouse. When Trump added more sanctions, we built a house in Russia. It's a good way to act. But why? When everybody faces crisis and you begin something that requires much money, what does it mean? You believe that everything is going to be good, and most surprisingly, it will. The courage, belief that you will have money all the time is your basis of the state when everything is going well.